Now I'm time stamping that memory that I just created through visualization as something that happened way in the past. Hey, welcome back to Uncivilized Rebirth. You are my mission. Today I want to talk about planning that lands internally and creates memories. The first thing I'm going to talk about is interacting with people. I know there's times in my life where there's people I've interacted with and I did not like interacting with them. They were just not nice people. But life was set up where I had to interact with them. And so many times in my life, I just wung it or I was winging it. I didn't have any plan on how I was going to talk to them or act or what I was going to say. All I knew is that they were going to be a-holes and that I didn't really know how I was going to react. And I'm quick-witted, so part of me was like, I'm going to say cutting words back. When in reality, that's not really the mature thing to do. So what I discovered is that it's important for me to go through and visualize how I'm going to talk to them and plan on what I'm going to say. And I just imagine that I say things that are um, bold, blunt, but not in an insulting way to continue what they started. Because a lot of people just want conflict. But we need to stand up for ourselves. We don't need to be run over, but we don't need to continue childish content or conflict. So, one thing that helps me with this is visualizing that this is one of the people that I'm a leader of, and that there's a huge, big, massive plan going on, and that this tiny little bitty conflict has no bearing on the overall expanse of what's happening. To put that into a different light, I'm putting these words together as I go. Imagine you're on a huge battlefield and there's a massive war, and you're going through the trenches, and a cook comes up to you and starts getting mad at you that they didn't have the right amount of flour and tried to blame you for it, and they didn't make their biscuits right. And you're this commanding general, and you're like, oh my goodness, like, cool beans, and you just keep moving along. Whereas if you're like in the mindset of just being, let's say, the mindset of somebody washing the dishes in the kitchen area, and the cook comes up to you and you get defensive and you start arguing and fighting back. But your viewpoint is just in the kitchen, not on the whole scheme of things or the huge, massive picture. So when you start looking at the massive picture or create a massive picture in your mind, you realize that this tiny, silly word exchange is not going to get any more of my time. I will immediately put it to a stop and move on. And so that's what I do. Is like a lot of that's like mindset on how you interact with that. So I want to share that with you because I know a lot of times in life we have to interact with people we don't want to, but it's important that we remain true to ourselves. We don't give ground, keep composure, and conduct yourself in a manner that is becoming a great leader. I mean, we should all act that way, and I don't always do that, but that mindset helps me move through those scenarios. Sorry, my voice is a little bit like jumpy. I've been super sick the last week. So, the next one is planning your day. So, if you and when I was younger, I was winging my days also. I just knew like I had to be here, be there, do this stuff, and I just halfway did it. Over the past 2 years, I learned that planning my day just changes everything so much. Basically, I have like these four main projects I'm working on, and then I do a little bit on each one, and then I do the peripheral task for maintaining life, basically. And then I follow that plan. And then I got a little further down that rabbit hole and I started going to great detail, visualizing my day the next day after I planned it out. Like I see myself getting up, making my bed, brushing my teeth, washing my face, going to exercise, going through the exercise routine, coming home, taking care of these chores, doing this schoolwork, making a video, planning out, I do this laundry or rake these leaves, work on this little project, do this portion. And I see it in my mind and I go through it all very clearly. And then here is a big trick that I do. And I found that it's like kind of like a subconscious hack using your memory. So once you went through and visualized all of that, you created a memory that you can access now. And now what I want to challenge you to do, what I do is I access that memory, but I imagine that I'm 90 years old, like years down the road. Now I'm time stamping that memory that I just created through visualization as something that happened way in the past. So now I'm remembering this day that I accomplished and got all this stuff done and did a good job. And now the next day, like my subconscious sees that that day got done years ago and it's already a template for how this day is going to go. So then, like, the motivation. So whenever you're sitting around, you're like, I got to do this. I don't want to. I got to do this. I don't want to. And you're just like trying to make yourself do it. I don't have to do that. I don't have to talk myself into anything because, like, subconsciously, I've already done this day and I accomplished all my tasks. So now I do is just like, man, I did a great job on that day. Like, it's already time stamped way in the past. All this stuff got done. So now I just follow the template and I just I don't overthink anything. I just go look at my list or my tasks for the days. And then I remember that memory I made that's time stamped for way in the past. And then I just go through easily throughout my day and I get the stuff done. I don't have no fuss, no muss. I don't have to stress or worry about it. I don't have to try to motivate myself or find the drive. That memory is the template and it just follows through. So it's like, it's already happened. Subconsciously, my mind thinks that. So it's like, this is like another day like that and I'm going to get it done. So those are two things that I use that I find extremely helpful and help me just navigate through life and every day and just keep getting the small wins, because like when we get a project done, that's a win. When we don't get entrapped in these silly childish arguments that people try to start with us, that's a win. When we go through and we take care of all the peripheral things throughout the day that we don't want to do, that's a win. So as you start going through your days and you use these tips and techniques, like these wins build up and they build up and they build up. And each one of those is a little brick that you're building in your life. It's invisible, but it's a solid brick. Each one of those wins, and you're building and you're building and you're building a solid base. And you're moving towards your objective. What is your objective? I don't know. I have no clue. But I know what mine is. And I know what my mission is. And I know what I'm supposed to do. And so that alone right there gives me just this massive fire and drive from my soul. Like it just comes easily. But once you discover that drive and that fire, you don't have to really worry about it. But I've been there where you're in the days where you're just like, is what I'm doing matter? Are the things that I'm doing, do they matter? Yeah, they do. And what it means by do they matter? It's like, is anything coming into fruition in the world? Is it mattering as in, is it coming and building something together? Think about that. If you're doing a project, like, does it even matter? Do you see the results of your project? Then it is mattering as in it is building something. Just like I finished college recently and I hated it for over 4 years. I did not enjoy it, but guess what? There was many days where I was like, I want to quit. Is this mattering? But guess what? Eventually it came to the day where it's like, ding, prize are done. It's like, yes. So what you are doing does matter. Take these tools and techniques and try it. And it all starts in your mind. Like that's where it all starts because your brain is basically the filter for the energy coming out of your body into the world. And if you let the world choose how your energy is presented in the world, then you're not in charge of how you present in the world. But when you get control of this guy, the most powerful processing unit conceivable, you gain control of your body. Anyway, I'll shut up now. I hope this is helpful. If you don't want to try that stuff, don't try it. But if you do want to try it, man, what do you have to lose? Or woman, disregard me saying just man, no intention to insult anybody. But, what do you have to lose but accept a few minutes of thinking and possibly changing the way your days go? I'm going to end the video now. Roadhouse, spiritual heart.